And welcome back to Paris. Welcome back to the first round of the Alekhine Memorial that is being played here in the Louvre in Paris. My name is Dirk-Jan ten Geusendam. I am the editor of New in Chess, and my guest today is Alexander Grischuk, who takes a brief break now because I'm joined by another guest, and the other guest is Henrik Carlsen. Welcome, Henrik.
Thank you.
Henrik is the father of Magnus Carlsen, in case you didn't know, and it was a pleasant surprise to
public the regulations for the World Championship match, and it clearly states in Article 15 that any federation that is a member of FIDE or any sponsor may make a bid for the World Championship match. So that the chances of getting problems with your stomach is much higher in Chennai than in the places where the players usually play high-level tournaments. I think that's fair to say. I mean, nothing against the Indians, their federation, or certainly Anand, who's a gentleman in every respect.
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, I wonder if, let's say, with all the home ground pressure that there would be for Anand, I'm not sure if he would be so eager to play there. But okay, that's not for us to decide.
No, that might be a valid point, but I don't know. I guess they've talked to him at least. And
well, that's what I was wondering, if they've talked to him, because if you release such a press release and he's not even mentioned in it, then it doesn't, well, at least it doesn't give the appearance that you're very close to him.
I don't know. He has made some statements in Indian media after the candidate matches, but his level of involvement, I don't know. No, we don't. Well, you say this is a wonderful tournament, and I fully agree on that. Of course, people may wonder why Magnus is not playing. I assume that he has been invited to play here. I don't think it's a secret that he was invited, and now in retrospect we also know that during the 100 days from the start of the candidates until the end of Town Memorial, in addition to the Grand Prix tournament, there are 4 top-level tournaments, the candidates, this wonderful tournament, Norway Chess in Stavanger, and then Town Memorial. And I think none of the top players are going to play all 4 of them, which would be 41 games in about 100 days. That's doable, but it's also a high number of games at this level.
Yeah, especially if you have to live up to the expectations that he has to live up these days. I mean, it's every time an extraordinary performance is being expected, and if you have to do that 4 times in a row, that might be...
And I think it was very hard for him to turn down the invitation to this fantastic tournament. But in the end, he decided to go for the candidates and for Stavanger, which he had already agreed to play, and he will also play in... I'm not sure there's a contract yet, but I believe he's going to play in Town Memorial as well.
Yeah. I think the Russian organizers also think that he's playing there.
Yeah, I have no reason to believe anything else, really.
Yeah, well, and of course it will be interesting to see the tournament in Norway, the first top-level classical tournament in Norway, where Magnus will be the top seed, and where Anand will be playing, Ronjan will be playing. So, well, it will be a very, very strong tournament.
And I mean, we're so excited by this in Norway, the fact that now for the next 15 or 16 months we're going to have 3 high-level events with Norway Chess in Stavanger. We have the World Cup in August, September in Tromsø, and then a year later the Olympiad. So it's fantastic news, and combined with the fact that media really has been talking about discussing the forthcoming World Championship match, having reports every day about different aspects of, for instance, the venue, the location, and other discussions about seconds and preparations already. There's an immense interest in chess in Norwegian public right now, and I'm very happy about that.
Well, it must be well, weird or exciting for you that, I mean, you've always been a chess fan even before Magnus became a strong player. So you must have seen this change from chess being, well, just a game in Norway till something that is just in all the media. It's some. Well, I guess there must be moments when you pinch your arm and I think, well, is this
all the time?
Are you pinching you again? Yeah. So, well, Magnus is in the United States now.
Yes, with Espen. They have some meetings and also this celebration on the 23rd, as he
yes,
was honored with the...
Yeah, maybe there are listeners who have not seen that news yet, but Magnus Carlsen, he was chosen as one of the 100 most influential people in the world, which I think it's a big honor, and at the same time a recognition for what he is doing. I mean, it's not the 100 richest people, it's not the 100 most intelligent or important, but influential. His whatever he is doing has huge influence and impact.
Yeah, I mean, okay, he's a very good chess player, and in addition, he's a young player from the West who's doing a lot of other activities. So, in a way, he's maybe reshaping slightly the face of chess in large parts of the world.
Yeah.
And the recognition is something he was very happy about. You can be on this list for good or bad reasons, but I think it's obvious that for him it was an honor. I mean,
yeah, to follow in the footsteps of Justin Bieber. Was he teased by his sisters, or?
Yeah, slightly, but Bieber was not on the list this year. I think, but anyway,
he's losing influence. Yeah.
No, but okay, there's of course also a big element of arbitrary choices for such a list. But just the fact that someone thought about Magnus and in the end supported his candidate.
Do you know how they do that? Is it various correspondents of the magazine that make proposals? They say, well, you should look in this area, there's this and this person.
I think there's a couple of parallel processes, although I don't know the exact details. So it's something that they put a lot of emphasis on. So it's a fairly rigorous process, but of course it's nothing official. It's a magazine doing this. I mean, we shouldn't overestimate the
but
policy.
At the same time,
process.
it's a serious thing. I mean, they are not doing this as a joke. They want to make a statement with this.
Yeah, and I mean, together with Magnus, I'm deeply honored by the fact that he was thought of and chosen for the list.
So he's going to this dinner where the awards will be given, or I don't know, or the list is being celebrated. Which are the people that are going to be there that he looks forward most to see them or to speak to them, or?
Well, I'm not sure he knows exactly who's going to be there this year.
But suppose they're all there. Probably that's not easy.
I don't know. I mean, you have to ask him. There will probably be an opportunity for that in the future. So do that.
Yeah. And then we'll find out if it was. Is Jay-Z on the list, or?
Yeah, and Magnus has met him before also. So.
Okay. That's good. So did you manage to speak to FIDE people here?
Well, at least I've spoken to a number of people, and I've had this wonderful opportunity to talk to you also and try to present our views. Of course, I would like to add that Magnus is highly motivated for this World Championship match.
Yes.
He's very happy to have this opportunity. In the end of the tournament in London was very difficult. But he's relieved and happy to have won, and he's motivated to play the match. And of course then we have to put emphasis on making sure that there are a level playing field for both participants. It's a good event for everyone involved, really.
Well, and I think it's only reasonable to look for the best bid. I mean, without any disrespect for the Indian organizers, but there may be even better bids there, and bids that will appeal to the people's imagination more and be more beneficial to chess even. So it would definitely be very good if that happened, and if there was an open bid. And,
yes, I mean.
Am I allowed to ask where you would like to see you have any preference, or is that?
No, I don't really have a preference. I mean,
at the moment I started this question, I thought, you know him by now, dear Jan. Why are you asking such a stupid question?
No, I mean, I'm very happy for Magnus. The fact that he's motivated to play, and it's going to be a great match. I think you have the older, wise, very experienced world champion for many years, Vichy Anand, and the young Norwegian star trying to challenge him in the match. So I think it's going to be great. But it would be good to hold it in a place where we will get the appropriate coverage and where the playing conditions and the living conditions for the players and their teams are adequate and stimulating, I would say. Because it's really, although today the matches last for about 3 weeks, as opposed to a couple of months if we go back 20 or 30 years. It's still really a long time to be focusing on the same objective, and you want everyone really to be comfortable that are involved in this. So I think there's a lot of cities and countries in the world that could organize this in a way that is beneficial for the players, for FIDE, and for the public at large.
And it's definitely a match that I mean, so many people are looking forward to. I also think that it will bring out the best in Vichy Anand. This, I don't know what his feeling will be, but maybe this will be his last big performance. Or but I think he'll do anything to leave with a flourish, or to stay world champion.
From what I've heard, he's preparing physically already, and he seems to be in a good mood, in a good shape. His play, I think, has improved somewhat this year compared to last year and the year before. So I think he'll probably be playing at a very high level in the World Championship match. So Magnus has to prepare well and do his best.
No, I agree with what you say, that he looks more relaxed or eager than 1 year ago when things were going so difficult for him. So that's definitely something to look forward to. So, well, if you joined us a bit late, I'm talking to Henrik Carlsen, the father of Magnus Carlsen, and we're talking about the memorandum of understanding that was signed by FIDE in Chennai, and well, in a way, Henrik has taken away our worries. No, the match has not yet been given to Chennai. They are trying to get an open bidding procedure where everyone who is interested in that match can make a bid, and that the players will have the opportunity to choose from the best offers that there will be. Is that summarizing it more or less?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, yes.
Yes. So let's hope that will happen, and you're flying back to Norway tonight.
Yes, and it was a pleasure and honor to be here with you. So thank you, dear Jan.
The pleasure is entirely mine, and we'll meet in Stavanger quite soon, and that will be great to see how chess has been developing in Norway. So well, lots of success with everything, and have a safe flight.
Thank you.
And I'm going to see if I can find back Alexander Grishuk. Maybe if you see him, Henrik, tell him that he has to work.
I will, thank you.
Thank you. All the best. So we'll wait for Alexander Grishuk, who took a slightly longer break because we had this talk with Henrik Carlsen, who explained to us that the memorandum of understanding signed in Chennai by FIDE and representatives of the Indian Chess Federation is not the last word in the bidding procedure for the World Championship match in November between Magnus Carlsen and Vichy Anand that we're all looking forward to. I'll briefly leave you here. I'll be back in a couple of seconds with Alexander Grishuk, and then we'll have a look at the games as they are in progress now, and some of them has quite a bit has happened. So I'll make sure that we'll find Alexander soon. And we are back, and with me now again is Alexander Grishuk, who used the opportunity to take some fresh air, and I cannot blame him. The weather outside is beautiful, and the park is beautiful.
No, I first of all I apologize for this small disappearance, and secondly I have to say that the father of Magnus is apparently also a very talented person, and he made a Norwegian trick on me. I was checking every minute whether Dirk Jan is still talking with him or not, and then just when I went to smoke, they finished like just exactly at this moment.
But okay, we quickly find you, so let's have a look at the games as they are now, Alexander.
Yeah, let's start with Aronian, because he is at the TV, and yeah, he's in deep trouble. White achieved everything he could, but it still will not be that easy to break black defenses if he will defend well, but White has a huge advantage.
Well, maybe Alexander, for this, well, for you this is easy to see that he's in big trouble. For many of our viewers, they will be counting pieces and pawns. What is the situation? I mean, what is White threatening? What is the problem that Black has? Okay.
Yeah, first of all, let's. So here we left this game, and yeah, Levon could not find anything better than b5. White played e4, as we said, and now e5 didn't work because of d5. And so yeah, so Black just
maybe explain that, because it's
5 d5. Just White has more defenses on d5, and White just.
I mean, those pawns are going to be too strong.
Maybe, I don't know. He could play some psychopathic stuff like this, but it should not be sound. Yeah, so he just played rook b7, knight c2, and
but you're pointing out that these central pawns, they will be so devastating. And
no, but first of all, just White threats both d6 and dc, and I think you cannot defend against both. Yeah, so
yeah, it's yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe some sacrifice, but it's like extremely suspicious, to say the least.
But you will understand that you see these things a bit more quicker than some of our viewers at home. So it's good to explain to them why Aronian is in trouble.
Yeah. So he played rook b7, knight c2, and now he's in trouble basically because White has a huge advantage at the center, and just some basic stuff. Black will always have to defend against d5.
That's something he has to count with all the time.
Yeah, it will be always in the air, and Black has no real counterplay. I don't know what he's going to. Maybe transfer knight to maybe knight b8, and then knight a6. But still, White should be much better. But yeah, as I said, it's far from easy for White, and everything can happen. And who is? Yeah, and exactly, Levon played knight b8. Yeah, it's I think a very good move. Yeah, after knight a6, the problem is that White wanted to play knight a3, but now it will be very annoying that after knight a6 the pawn is hanging on b4, so I think he will regroup his pieces somehow, maybe play bishop c1, and if knight a6, bishop e3 probably, then he will probably go rook a1, rook d1, or he can start with rook a1, maybe knight a6, rook d1, maybe it's a bit more precise, and then bring his bishop to life, then play f4. Actually, also it's one of those positions which is hard to play for both sides, because there are always some tactical opportunities. D5 for White, E5 for Black. Okay, not right now, maybe, but a bit later. and you cannot win this game immediately for white. So you have to make very decent moves, but also do it quite quickly, because the crisis in the game will be much later. And this is one of situations in which great players are really very good at. For example, Magnus himself, or Levon. I mean, they can play decent moves very quickly.
But is this the luxury that white has, that in fact there's no real rush? He can slowly build up his position.
From one point of view, yes, but maybe black, I don't know. I mean, I cannot say that I really understand this position. It's very complicated. But sometimes in such positions there are some strong ideas for the defending side. Maybe it's not one of them. Maybe black is doomed to complete passivity. I cannot say it confidently yet. Maybe, for example, here he can go rook d7, let's say bishop c1, queen c7, and maybe he, for example, if you play carelessly bishop e3, rook fd8, now black will want to play e5, maybe, because before e5 is not good because of d5. So, but even here white can play f4.
Yeah, and you mean these nuances, they change all the time? And
Yeah.
so
That's the point, that you can actually spend 1 hour on each move and still not understand everything. That's why chess is chess. It's a difficult game.
yeah, the situation might may be entirely different one move on, and yeah. So now we get some images from Svitler's game against Gelfand.
Yeah, it's
What
a
happened
walking game, because both players immediately run away from the board after making the move. They are both famous for that. And as you can see, right now the board is completely empty, because Svitler has already ran away, and Gelfand hasn't returned yet. So. And let's see what happened after h4. Svitler took with the bishop, black took, king h2, and here not g5, which I expected, but knight d4. The point is that if white takes with the knight, black collects both pieces with the check. So I think it was quite forced. Take. Now c3 probably is bad for some reason. Probably black takes, g3. I'm not sure. Maybe he didn't like f6. Now g5 is threatening. It's a very complicated position. Let's say king g2, bishop goes away. Now g5 against threats, and if g4, maybe e5, and now it's very uncomfortable for white. So he decided to give up a pawn, so he played knight bd2, now g5, white cannot take, but he made a great move g3. Now black, if black takes on h4, white can take the bishop, and if bishop goes away, let's say here, then the bishop is protected, so white can take a pawn. And if black tries to defend the pawn with bishop f6, then knight e4, and the bishop is attacked, and if it goes, white just grabs g5 pawn. So Boris went for a forced line. He first grabbed the pawn on b2, rook b1, then bishop f6. Now everything is forced, knight e4, take with a check, king goes, knight goes away, take, b5. And I think white has a very small material advantage, but I think the position is rather equal here, and Svitler goes for c4, bishop b7, king f4. I think black has easily enough this position. It should be just a draw somehow. Maybe the easiest way, if black doesn't count on advantage, is to take and pin with rook h1. I think it will be just everything will be exchanged at the end. All those pawns, C and A for B and A, and then it will be just a complete draw. So yeah, so and I don't think black can really count for an advantage. So I think it will be a smart choice to play like that. I don't know, white can c5, I think is playing for to lose. It's rook c8, rook c1, for example, rook h5, king, knight e5, but still white is so pinned, I don't believe he can win, and he just should take some care and make a draw, which should not be difficult as well.
Well, we're talking about, let's say, the advantage of having played candidates tournament, and that, let's say, all the energy that you build up there, all the strength that you accumulated, that that helps in the next tournaments. Now, Peter Svidler, he not only played the Russian team championship, he also played the Bundesliga. Then he comes here, then he goes to Norway for Norway chess, and he more or less indicated, well, maybe I'm overdoing it a bit. What do you think? Isn't that a bit much what he's playing on?
No, first of all, it's very personal. I mean, it very much depends on the person. What is right for one guy will be terrible for another, and vice versa. So, I mean, I would not like to play as much, that's for sure, but first of all, you get quite a lot of money by doing this.
Which also helps.
Which I think really influenced his decision to play all of those tournaments. And I don't know, I mean, he looks much more energetic since the London tournament, for sure.
But he had a bit of a cold there, and
what?
He had a bit of a cold there, which maybe played some role. And you think the general stress of the tournament?
You mean he was in London? He had some cold in London?
Peter Svidler.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know. But no, I mean, starting from the London, he looks much more fresh and energetic. It's a pleasure to watch him playing. So why not to ride the rush?
No, I thought that was an interesting aspect of the London tournament, because let's say before the tournament, Kasparov, he said, well, this is Fischer's worst nightmare, Magnus against 7 Russians, 7 Soviets. And when I was talking to Peter Svidler at the end, and well, you're good friends, I mean, you go out for dinner a lot, and then during the entire, he said, we haven't gone for dinner even once. Is that weird, or is this just something which is unavoidable during such a tense tournament?
No, it's not even during, but just I was losing every game to Peter for last year before London, and I just cannot really do like this. I mean, some people can do this, but some cannot, and I'm the type who cannot. For example, when in World Cup we had a dinner and we even had quite a lot of drinks before our final, and then
when you were playing against each other.
We were playing against each other in finals. Then the first game, one day later, I lost like a child, and he was playing really great this game. So for him it doesn't affect him, but for me I cannot do like this. I mean, if we either fight and then we are, for the time being, are not friends, or we are friends and then we don't fight. I cannot do both.
You need
so even some time before London, it's not like I don't consider him a friend, but we started to speak much less, because I just don't want to lose 2 games without a fight. Just too much.
It's just
I already lost like 5 games in 1 year to him without winning a single one.
That's just a practical decision, in fact.
It's unfortunate, but what can I do? As we say in Russia, that friendship is friendship, but tobacco is separate. It sounds probably absolutely ridiculous in English, but what can I do? And
so tobacco is separated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a very old saying. When there were not cigarettes,
Yeah.
it was just tobacco. I don't know, they were maybe chewing it or maybe make some papyrus with this.
But you mean that the cigarettes you have to care of yourself?
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah. It's like in my student days when people said, "What brand do you smoke?" I said, "Oh, whatever they have."
Okay, so now the battle of
The French.
Vachier against Lagrave against Freycinet. So yeah, so they went for Queen F5, Queen A5, Bishop F1, Rook F E8, just developing move, and Bishop E3 developing move. I think the whole point of position is that black plays something like Knight G6. White will take and play F3, and this structure is considered to be slightly better for white. So probably black will try to do something else. I don't know, maybe Bishop C5 is an opportunity. It will be obviously quite advantageous for black to exchange the bishops, so maybe Bishop C5. I don't know, but I think Laurent will spend quite a bit of time in this position, so let's move to other games, because there's something happening in them. Anand Adams and what is going on? Okay, it starts to get complicated. Yeah, so we left you when Mickey played Knight G4. So now I understand the idea of this move. The idea is that black wants to play Knight A5, but if immediately Knight A5, then E5 pawn is hanging, and when white can just grab it. So Knight G4, he forces either Rook E2 or Rook F1, and then goes Knight A5, and now the pawn is protected. And Vishy played Bishop D5. Now black rejected C6 for some reason, probably just because of Bishop A2, I think so. And if after Rook B8, Vishy played Knight B3, and now it starts to get quite messy, at least for a human eye. So the natural move is obviously to take. Now white cannot take with the bishop because of check, so white has to take with the pawn, and which at the first sight spoils white's structure, but in fact it may be quite beneficial for white to move this pawn to b3, because now C line will be very weak for black, and especially the C7 pawn. But the question is, can black use the weakness of first rank? So he can try C6, but then Bishop G5 is the problem. And now if, first of all, the pawn is hanging and also D1 is protected, black cannot play F6 because it's an illegal move. And otherwise white is better. So I don't know what to do for black. Maybe he can try Knight F6, but then anyway white can go Bishop G5. So now black has to act quickly, or he will be much worse, I believe. So it looks like this Knight G4 was suspicious after all, but maybe Mickey will find something, then I will have to take my words back. Okay, the next game, and we are still watching Laurent. So Kramnik. Oof. It's very interesting what happened there. So we left at this moment, and so at first everyone makes some natural moves, and then suddenly knight f4. And what I'm wondering is if it was missed by Vladimir, or he was completely fine with it. So now to take is probably dangerous because black takes and then goes f3 after bishop runs away somewhere, and then black attacks e4 pawn. So he just played quietly f3, black took, and obviously this exchange is beneficial for black. Then the bishop is a bishop, even if it looked a bit passive on g2, it's still always stronger than a knight. But the point is that maybe white now wants to penetrate to d6. Maybe it was a very interesting decision by Vladimir if he made it consciously. So we'll also look what happens next. So okay, so bishop g6. Now he 99% will go rook d1, and black will be faced with some problems. Yeah, I think he will have to play queen b8, or maybe he can go knight d5, but no, scan. But it's very interesting.
Well, what kind of significance has a game like this for Vichikov? I mean, I'm not sure if he ever played Kramnik even, and then he plays him like the world star, so experienced. Is it a special kind of test for him?
I don't know how he views it himself, but I will not put too much significance in one game. I mean, the tournament as a whole is quite important, obviously, because if he plays good, then he has a chance to start playing this, how to say,
the elite
circle,
events.
this circle of events. And if he plays very bad, then he will not have this opportunity for some time, unless he will have some great successes in other tournaments. Yeah, so rook d1, 99% chess worked. But I don't know, I think people overvalue it. I mean, the importance of like one game. Obviously, if it's the last game of a tournament, then it's always important, but just one game doesn't really show anything.
You mean this is just a general test?
I think even the whole tournament doesn't necessarily show anything. I mean, player can be in a great form or in a terrible form, but it's how it goes in sports. When you get some chance, you have to grab it, or you will be soon forgotten.
So that definitely is adds significance to this tournament. I mean, he's a professional chess player, so he would like to play these events.
Yeah, actually, I thought a couple days ago whom I will invite if I was to hold some super tournament from the not very top players. I think I will definitely invite Anton Korobov. I will invite Lagrave, Maxim, Andreikhin, but then I actually failed to find any other candidate.
And why did you choose these first three candidates?
No, because all of them are very talented in my opinion, and all of them never had a chance to play in super tournament. Maybe Maxim had, but also not too many of the opportunities. And for example, Jan Nepomniachtchi is also a very talented player, but he had a lot of chances to play, so that's why I'm choosing Andreikhin over him. And Anton Korobov is just a fantastic player, and the people, most of the general public don't know him, but actually chess players have a great opinion of his game.
Well, but that sounds like a good reason that he's a great player. But if you say, well, I would invite this or that player because he hasn't had many chances, I mean, then you're acting like a charity. I mean,
No, but it's always, but for example, inviting Ding Liren is also like a charity.
because he's a Chinese champion at the moment. But you would say, well, Wang Hao is higher rated, or
No, but first of all, it's not necessary to invite Chinese player at all. I mean, no, but
Yeah.
that's the point. No, but that's the point of
Yeah.
super tournaments, that they are charity events just by themselves. In fact,
by nature. You mean?
by nature, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
I think so, because I mean, obviously, top 3, 5 players are usually get invited, like Carlsen, Kramnik, Aronian, Anand, and that's it. And then they choose just by country or who didn't play for a long time.
Yeah.
I just this is not very sportsman-like system.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah,
a
you
bit,
don't qualify. I mean, there's no qualification
Yeah,
criteria.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a charity by itself. So.
Mm.
No, and also, I mean, if you are not a top player, but you had chances to play in these top tournaments and you failed, then it's one story. But if you never had a chance, it's another story. Maybe you will use it from the goal, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, in 1 or 2 minutes' time, we will have another break.
so I think we haven't looked at one game, yeah?
Yeah, then we have about half a minute left for that.
Okay.
And otherwise, if we don't manage that, we'll return to that game after the break, when Alexander Grishuk will be back here to explain the games. And there's some games are reaching the moment of crisis, and so that will be interesting to see how they develop. This was the one.
Yeah, actually, I failed to count till 5. We actually looked at all 5 games. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So see you soon.
Yes. Okay. We have a brief break now. And welcome back, everyone, to Paris, where we are following the first round of the Alekhine Memorial in a wonderful setting here at the Louvre. We were just briefly outside to get a drink, and it's wonderful to see. I mean, people are queuing to get in. The entire place is packed here, and people are queuing to see if they can catch a glimpse of the games, which is wonderful. So where are we? Well, my name is Dejan Tenhuizenam. I'm the editor of New in Chess, and with me is Alexander Grishuk, Russian Grandmaster, and currently number 5 rated in the world. So that's a big pleasure to have him here and to look at the games. Which one shall get your attention, Alexander?
Oh, okay. Let's start with the one we still have on the screen. Ding against Aronian, and as you can see, we have guessed White's moves correctly. Rook A1 really he played, and then played Rook A D1, and Black in the meantime played Queen C8 and Rook D8. And again we managed to guess White's next move, Bishop C1, and so far we are guessing most of the moves correctly, and I hope that the players will not say afterwards that it's a very bad sign for them when Dirk Jan and Grishuk guess their moves correctly.
Well, let's put it this way. I think you guessed them correctly, and I just listened to them. But it's interesting.
No. We will share both our successes and our failures.
Okay, that sounds very good, very warlike. So yeah, they are still, well, they continue to jockey for position, as they say, and in fact, well, every move makes it a new position that deserves attention.
Yeah, but black is actually about to run out of the moves because I think he tried to play queen c8, rook d8 first to keep the option to actually transfer the knight back to d7 and via d7 to f8 g6. It's very far from clear that it's a good maneuver, but it's just the right way to play in such positions to keep as many options as possible, so to make playing white harder. But now he finally has to decide something. I mean, he can play h6 still, but I mean, soon he will play either knight a6 or knight d7. I mean, he cannot keep going with the knight on b8. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, yeah, and black is in deep trouble. I still stand by my opinion.
But is this how you could sum up the situation, that white is trying to act and black is more or less restricted to reacting?
Black is restricted to not even reacting, but to nothing. I think
that bad.
I think I think so. Yeah, and for white, it's a very pleasant part of the game now because he still has lots and lots of improving moves. He can play bishop e3, h3, rook d2, rook fd1. I don't know, f4, queen f3. I mean, probably in this order, like bishop is probably in this order: bishop e3, h3, rook d2, rook fd1, then maybe at some point f4 to always stop e5 break, then maybe queen f3, then maybe g4, g5. White and the black, I don't see what can he do. Just look for some tricks and hope for white's time trouble. Yeah, that's it. So
Can we see how much time they used? Don't think
I'm not sure how they do it. I remember there were some way to do it when we were commenting Anand Gelfand match with Mirin, but I'm not sure. So only if somehow the clock gets into
Yeah,
the
here it's easy to see that Anand still has 56 minutes and Adam still has 32.
Yeah, and again Adam says we predicted took on b3, white took, and yeah, he plays h6, which is quite possibly right, but it means that I'm pretty sure white should be better here. But h6 looks like a strong move. Yeah. Now the point is that if white plays h3, knight f6, and bishop c4, then black is in time to play bishop b7. No, e5 is game, or at least play bishop d6, and white cannot play bishop e3 because e4. There is bishop a7, which gives pretty much nothing. Yeah. Although even here white will press at the end. Yeah, so h6, and I don't know, maybe white also now will have to think and find some precise way to continue.
But what is your feeling, that white is slightly better or clearly better?
It's impossible to say right now. By the structure he can be much better somehow, but it very much will depend on the concrete moves. Yeah, so let's check all the games. Kramnik, Vityugov. again we guess the move, 95. I see that there is a guess a move feature or even bet on move feature in play chess software. So maybe we should
Make some money.
start to gamble, yeah, and actually maybe we will even be able to break the chess base by doing that. Yeah, so knight d5.
Well, this is what I remembered when we did our first interview way back in Linares, and that was what you said. I'm a gambler, which was difficult to forget. Do you still feel a gambler?
Much less so, but I think I'm a gambler enough to completely understand this gambler's attitude.
Mhm.
Because, for example, sometimes let's say some guy gets hold of a lot of money,
Mhm.
and then he gambles it all away, and people say that, okay, how can you be so stupid? I mean, at least buy some house, I don't know, car, and then gamble the rest. But I can understand this feeling that he wants to have this feeling that he really gambles on everything.
Mhm.
I'm not degenerate enough to do it myself, but still enough to understand it.
Mhm.
So this will be my answer. But I have to say that in our case it will not be gambling. It will be
Yeah.
just complete annihilation of them. We will just absolutely just
Yeah.
destroy them. Yeah.
Well, maybe someone who gambled in his life was Alexander Alekhine. What place does he occupy in your chess education?
I have to say that I definitely have read his books, especially this one, how it's called in Russian, it's called «На пути к высшим шахматным достижениям», so in English it will be «On the way to the highest chess achievements», and it's a very profound read. But I cannot say that he is one of my favorite players. I have to say that all my favorite players are from past the world. So I think that starting from Botvinnik, players are much stronger than players before him. And I don't know, when people say that my favorite player is Rubinstein, it sounds a bit weird for me, because usually those people who say it, like Gelfand, I mean, they are just way stronger than Rubinstein. So it's hard for me to understand how a player who is much weaker than you can be your favorite.
Well, maybe because he discovered new ways and introduced some sort of play.
No, I understand, but still it's not for me. I don't know, I really like Kasparov, of course, Korchnoi as a whole, I mean, like a person together with chess player. It's my favorite will be Korchnoi if you take the whole person, yeah. And as a player, obviously Kasparov, I think is by far the best player ever. Then probably Fischer, who is the second best player ever. I don't know.
So what was it, or what is it that attracts you in Korchnoi as a person? What are the things that he does that appeal to you?
I think he has a lot in him which I lack. I mean, this, how to say, maybe not anger will be a wrong word, but this, I don't know, he has way more, I think maybe now he has more energy than I do. And when he was young, it's just incomparable with me.
You mean this determination, or this
determination,
fanaticism?
I'm not sure he was ever a chess fanatic. I don't really think so. I think he always likes to play, actually. I think maybe he will play some other games as well.
Mm.
I don't know. Just this. I just don't know these words in English.
Uncompromising?
Not really. I mean, even this his trait that he likes to say bad things to his opponent after the game. I mean, this will how to say, this will antagonize in most people. For me, it will be very unpleasant. But he makes it so talentedly that I even like it. I mean, there are certain things that only like 5 or 1% of people can do, and not be terrible at doing this. And I think he falls in this category. I also, for example, Naum Rashkovsky. I don't know if you know him or not.
Yeah.
He's our team captain in Ural. Also he does a lot of things that if like almost any other person will make, I will say what a jerk, what a okay, I will not say bad words, but yeah, what a jerk, let's say. But when he does it, it's even I will call it elegant. Elegant. It's very rare talent, and I think Korchnoi possesses it. But also I think that maybe it's only in my eyes, and a lot of other people will despise him for doing this. But I even like this.
Well, there's one incident or one moment that I remember. I think it was a European Championship, and Korchnoi was playing Shirov, and it was in Plovdiv many years back. And then the game is over, and Shirov has won, and Korchnoi is packing his things, and he's standing up. And Alexei, he also stands up, but he knows there's still something coming, and he's waiting for it. So he stands there, and then suddenly Korchnoi has found the words, and he starts to insult him. And then he, after he's insulted him, he just turns around and walks away. And then Shirov knows, okay, now I've done my duty. He nods to himself, collapses laughing, and walks away. Yeah, that was wonderful to see. But especially this moment when you could see that Shirov wanted to walk away and thought, oh no, I still have to wait for my insult.
Yeah, no, but even those things when Gufeld, I think, became a grandmaster, and he made a joke with Korchnoi, like he met him and said, hello, colleague. And Korchnoi replied to him, Damjanovic is a colleague for you. I mean, it will be a completely shitty behavior by 99% of people, but from him, I mean, when it goes that naturally, I think it's funny.
Well, what I've always appreciated a lot in Korchnoi is that he's so critical of other people, but you can actually say the same things to him.
Yeah.
You can accuse him of things, and he will think about it, and sometimes he'll say, yeah, you're right, but it will not upset him. And I think that's very strong, that he insults other people, but he doesn't mind if he is being attacked.
No, he also looks very sincere to me. I mean, when he is angry, he doesn't try to hide his anger. When he is upset, he doesn't try to hide that he is extremely upset and so on. And I think, for example, this story when after losing to Karpov their candidates' final match, which actually turned out to be a World Championship match because Fischer refused to play. After the match, he said a lot of really not nice things about Karpov. After which there started this boycott actually against him, and those things were extremely impolite and offensive and stuff. But I can sort of understand him when his long-time friends, almost all of them, helped Karpov in this match. He had all reasons to be extremely upset, and I mean, even to be upset in, I don't know, human nature. I mean, I can understand if some people with whom I was friendly all my life then will help my opponent in the finals.
Yeah, that's quite something.
It will be very painful. Bishop e7, so now it will get more tense. The game will get more tense because now the queen is unprotected. So now knight cannot jump away freely. Okay, white obviously cannot win immediately because f4 there is queen b6 check. And Maxim is ready to make some move, so we will see soon. He looks nervous for some reason. Because black also now threats to go g6. To go g6. No, it's a circle. Okay, so to play g6, and then after queen f4 there will be some knight h5. Also you have to calculate on each move rook take d8 or rook take d1. So now it gets quite tense, so let's wait some moves and then we will return. Oh, okay.
So he played...
He wants to play with his rook, so probably rook take d8 is the only move which makes sense. So he probably wants to take, and if rook takes, then maybe he wants to play bishop f4, maybe. And now there is no check because white haven't weakened the diagonal, so there is no check, and black has to maybe he can play knight fd7. Very complicated, so let's first look other games. Swidler Gelfand.
But it looked as if he was going to move, but it seems that he had second thoughts and didn't make a move.
Yeah, but it happens a lot in chess. And here it looks like Gelfand tries to... I'm not sure what he tries to do, to seize initiative maybe. It's a brave decision, although he doesn't really risk much by doing that. But his point is probably that now if white takes, then he is going to play rook c2, I think. I think so. And the point is if knight g3, then maybe he wants to take. I'm not sure. Maybe then white can take. So, if takes, then yeah, and now it's a great pin. Although even this probably ends in a draw, but it's unnecessary for black definitely. So what does he want? Maybe he will just take first. Still I will bet on a draw. And one more game, I think. Or not. Or it's all already. Actually we didn't say anything about Kramnik-Vityugov. So he really played knight d5, and Kramnik could accept the sacrifice by taking take d5, bishop f5, take c6, then probably queen c8, now take. Black cannot take because king h2 and he loses a piece. But he can just play queen take b7, and he has a fine compensation because he has two bishops. White king is weakened, so he has great long-term compensation. I don't think black really risks anything here, so he is completely right to play knight h4, forcing taking on e3, take, queen e7, Queen b3, black defends the pawn, rook f2, rook d8, so everything is very natural. Now he probably will take. Yeah, he will probably take. Black cannot take with the rook because pawn is hanging, so he will take either with bishop or queen. I don't think it matters much. Then rook d2, and white is still, let's say he goes back, and here is white is slightly better, and the question is if black can equalize or not, and it will depend on the precisement of players play, but also it will depend on the resources which are there in position. Sometimes it looks like you're better, but in fact all your opponent's defensive moves are very natural, and you just don't really have any real resources. It looks like slightly better, but you have nothing, which is what happened now in team championship in my game against Nikita Vityugov. I got a slightly better endgame, and it looked very good, and computer gave quite a big advantage for me, but in fact neither me nor computer could not find anything, and the game finished as a draw without any real chances for me. So yeah, he took, and we will see.
How difficult do you think this tournament is for Kramnik? I mean, he played such a wonderful tournament in London, but it brought him nothing, and even if he tried to be philosophical about it, it must have hurt him terribly. Is it difficult to play again, or is this the right thing to do, and just to try to forget it? Or
Again, it's completely personal, and but I don't think it's such a shock for him. I don't think so. It's I think it's not at all like it was for Bronstein to not lose, but not to win this match against Botvinnik. This was really shocking for him. But for Kramnik, of course, he was very upset, but it's not some real blow for him.
you think he could come over that quite soon? Or?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
But that's based on something. Why do you think that?
No, just the way he looked at when making interviews, and how he looked during the closing ceremony. He was okay. He just looked like okay. Of course, he's upset, but nothing more than that.
Is that strength of character, or
No, but first of all, he was already world champion. It's not like he. Of course, he wanted to win. I think he was in a great psychological state during this tournament. He wanted to win very much, but he was not completely obsessed about it. So it was like the best possible combination.
how was that for yourself? What kind of mix did you have?
No, but I was extremely upset after losing this game against Vladimir, because after this I lost all my chances, and of course I was very upset. Also, the way I lost this game was completely embarrassing. But okay, it's not the end of the life. I don't know. I think with the age, I'm getting less and less upset after.
Yeah, but how did you because that was one of the mysteries of the tournament, the way you lost that one. What was your explanation afterwards?
Yeah, I can explain it completely clearly. So, okay, the game started terribly for me. I spent more than 1 hour more compared to Vladimir, and got a very unpleasant position from the opening with white, which is like the worst possible result of the opening, to get worse position without any chances to win, and much less time. So okay, so I started to play just completely for a draw, and he started to play just pretty much on time. Then I was getting quite short on time, but nothing really dramatic. I had 8 minutes for 11 moves. When he played bishop f5, which is a terrible move, but the one which won him a game, he should have played some other move, and then he is really better. But he played bishop f5, which was quite shocking for me. I completely didn't expect this move. And so after this I took on f5, he took, and my first idea was to play f4, and then if he takes on f4, I play king f3, and if he goes to the same pawn endgame, it's drawish. But then I didn't like some other moves by him, so I decided to force g4, knight d4. Now I thought I can probably play king e3, but I just thought na bishop d4. Okay, I calculated everything, so it's a drawish pawn endgame. But the thing I didn't realize that now I just lose move by move. I'm just not in time to play f4 and then to meet king e6 with king e4. So I just lost like a child. But actually the biggest thing was that if I don't take on d4 but play king e3 instead, I'm almost winning. He has to make like 14 only moves in a row. This was.
But this bishop f5, this was his gamble, let's say.
No, but I think the point that he didn't realize that he is in danger after this. I think he thought that okay, if it doesn't work, he will make a draw anyway, easily. But in fact, no. The way he wanted to play, he's just mathematically lost. It's far from sure I will win it over the board in time trouble, but mathematically I'm just winning after this.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a game we haven't paid attention to for some time. Ding Liren Aronian, is White still building up a nice position?
Yeah, they made just 3 half moves after we left them, so he finally decided to play bishop knight a6, and now he played bishop f4, which might be completely fine. I just preferred bishop e3, but maybe it's even better. Maybe he can try to play bishop d6 now. I don't know if you let e5 after that. I'm not optimistic about your chances, but you cannot take twice because of e5, and even if you decide to sacrifice an exchange, it doesn't help you, because anyway e5, and it doesn't matter that before hanging, because you will be just rook down after this stuff. So okay, maybe he can, I don't know what to do now. Maybe he can play knight c7, and now e5 is now not as strong, because knight d5 and black can take with knight on d5. Now it's more or less okay for black, but still black, what is his next move? Even h3 now. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but there are no tactical motifs for black even. So probably, I mean, there is nothing to blunder. So yeah.
Well, there's also been a lot of talk about Aronian's performance in London, where he was one of the clear favorites, and that's what he looked for many rounds, and then he had this defeat against Gelf and then more or less collapsed. Was that a surprise for you, or do you share Kasparov's idea that he is psychologically less stable than he should be?
No. I mean, I would not be greatly surprised if any of 8 players won the tournament, so I was not really surprised by anything. Okay, I'm a bit surprised by the fact that 2 players just didn't prepare at all for the tournament. By this I'm surprised, of course.
And then
but I mean, if Kramnik won or Carlson or Anyan, no, I mean anyone, especially those three, just nothing to be surprised. And of course, anyone can play some bad games. I don't
But that's your feeling that Rajabov and Ivanchuk didn't prepare at all. They
by the games, it's quite clear. I don't know. It's very strange. Why? But feels this way.
So Aronian is under pressure in his black game against Ding Liren, and well, White is slowly building up the tension, and Alexander Grishuk doesn't see a concrete plan for Black to.
No, especially there is just.
This is a very concrete move that.
Yeah, Black is completely paralyzed. I mean, it's the same. Like here, even here, if I let you play b5, it would be a bit unpleasant. And here, White gets this bishop like one rank closer to the back rank. So I mean, at some point probably Black will have to take, and then it will be passed pawn, protected, just 2 moves away from being a king. And then White can start also king side assault. I think we cannot turn on the computer, right? But I think White is just winning. Okay, so let's.
So then, we're still stuck with that. Well, let's say at the end of London, people were talking about this incredible last round and thinking if there was any final round that could be compared to that. But today, when I was thinking of Ding Liren, I thought that the first time he won the Chinese championship when he was 16 years old, that was a crazy last round, because his rival Wang Hao, who had been leading comfortably earlier on, he lost a couple of games, and he lost the last round game, and he won his last round game because his opponent was forfeited, because he didn't arrive in time, and and they actually had this zero tolerance rule before FIDE had even officially introduced it. So that was a crazy way to win the Chinese championship when you're 16 years old.
No, but actually it was a great pleasure in London to follow the last few rounds in person, being inside all of this stuff, and there were a lot of things that other observers who had to follow by internet or maybe even to be in playing hall, but not being able to walk between the boards, missed. I mean, I'm not going to share these things, but there were a lot of very funny and interesting things.
Well, because that's what people were saying, that both Kramnik and Carlsen, they were both playing 2 games. So people like you were playing 3 games.
Yes. No, but also mostly 2 games. The game of Kramnik and the game of Carlsen.
Yeah.
And as we can see, Maxim found some tactical solution. He played knight d5. So now it all becomes probably quite forced. And as we can see now, Laurent is ready to make some move, but also cannot.
Well, and we can also see the clock now, so it's 34 minutes still for Maxime, and Laurent is down to 26. Well, that's not too serious, I guess, with 20.
Yes, he took with the knight. And he prepared his next move. He took with the pawn. Okay. And he's going to play queen b4. Protecting the e7 bishop and also unpinning his pawn.
Mhm.
So what white can do? He can either take, after which black. Now if take with bishop with rooks and check, and if rook d8, this
Yeah.
should be analyzed.
Queen b4 has been played.
Yeah, or white can try bishop d2.
Mhm.
Now, then you can take the pawn. But still, I can play queen c7. Now rook e1 is a threat. Also queen take b7 is a threat. So it's one of the positions in which computer will show the right way in the matter of seconds. But for human beings, it can take lots and lots of time to find the right way. It's always quite sad, those situations.
Well, maybe it's also different if you sit at the board or if you look at it without the pressure. That
No, but I look without much pressure, I have to admit, but
you think that should be easier, in fact.
Maybe bishop d2, black can take, queen e5, rook d7, and now queen, let's say, e5, take with pawn, and he's in time to protect the back rank. Who knows? Yes, who knows? Actually, we can see time on our demonstration boards.
That's much easier.
You see, we are like those youngsters who only looks at the computer screen and doesn't see the whole world around.
Well, it's probably because there are so many people in front of us sitting here in the hall. I mean, we're sitting at the back of the hall in a cabin, and it's interesting to see how the hosts and the hostesses here, how they are guiding the people to their seats. Whenever a seat becomes vacant, then someone else will be taken there, which is a good thing to see at a chess tournament. And there's a cameraman blocking our view. But on the other hand, you're right, that was utterly stupid not to see that there was a simple solution to this problem.
Yeah, but do you know what was the best event audience-wise which I have played?
No.
Just not close. It was the World Rapid Cup in Cannes, Cannes in France, held in 2001. And when we played the semi-final against Garry Kasparov, the whole this tournament was held in the Cannes festival.
The Palais de Festival.
Yeah. And the whole palace was full. Even people were sitting on the staircase.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like almost 1,000 people was in there. It was just absolutely fantastic. And never I saw anything close to that.
Well, you had the Imopar trophies here, and they played for packed houses.
Yeah, but I was 10 years old.
Yeah, that's, no one told you.
Okay.
And actually, in the Tilburg tournaments in the golden years, there would be 1,000 people a day.
Yeah?
Yeah. That was would always draw lots of people. So it's possible, and so he's thinking.
No, actually, Maxim is thinking.
Is thinking, yeah.
And Laurent is also thinking.
Yeah.
Just during his opponent's move.
And he's pulling faces to show his opponent that he.
But Laurent is a well-known poker player, so
yeah.
of course he can make faces and not give away anything.
Is he a good poker player?
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things that people always talk about when they're talking about you. That and well, I know that you don't mind talking about it, but you, as far as I understand, you find it annoying if people think that because you're interested in poker that it makes your dedication to chess less serious. that annoys you.
No, but
Yeah.
also since the poker, since poker was prohibited in Russia, I just don't like speaking about myself and poker. But if anyone has questions like what I think about this player or that player, or how I will play a certain hand, or what I will advise, it's no problem. Just me and poker, I don't like to speak at public.
Okay.
But Laurent, I think he's in fact stopped playing poker, so it was
But you mean-
mostly a joke playing.
But poker in Russia online or
no,
everywhere?
live. No, online
Live?
is okay.
Oh,
Online is okay, but just still you can never be too cautious. So I
But-
better not speak about me and online as well.
okay.
Just
We're not going to take that gamble. So,
yeah. Okay, so
we're back in
I think
Kramnik's game.
No, Kramnik's nothing happening in fact. Rook d3. Now we saw on the TV that Vityugov played Queen a6. So I think he should be able to defend. But I think you will excuse me for paying the most attention to the game which can potentially bring an upset, as they say in America, or a small sensation, as we say in Europe. Yes, Dingliren Aronyan, and he played instead of bishop d6, which looked extremely tempting for me and still does. He played h3, and now Aronyan doesn't let him do this. He goes knight e8. Now obviously bishop d6 is impossible. And I think white's task will become much harder. Now d5 looks quite tempting, so let's say black takes, white takes. The point is that after cd, white takes on b5, and black's pawns are completely blocked, while after knight d4, white pawns will just roll till the 8th rank probably. So, but I think black prepared take and bishop f6, and now attacking this knight. Let's say white takes. Black probably can take, and then if white takes, he can take again. Now whether you take with a knight or with a queen, I think you can take with a queen, with the point if you take queen d7, which looks quite strong, although maybe queen a8 can hold, who knows. But you can also just take on c6, and it's probably not tragic for black, although still queen d5, white has a definite advantage, because all white pieces are in play, while e8 knight is a bit out of place. So, but at least now white has to decide, because probably Levon wants to play bishop f6 soon. Still, I will probably just play rook d2 here, and then rook d1, fd1, and then decide. Also, he has more time, Dingliren, than Aronyan, so it's forcing the matters is not in his interests. But we will see. This is the game I'm most interested. And Svidler Gelfand, they made 0 moves. Oh, and just as I said, Peter made a move and runs away. Peter has a fantastic thing. It's like he vowed to himself a long time ago that after making each move he will run away. And sometimes, for example, he takes opponent's queen, and the his opponent's only move is to take his queen back.
Mm.
So obviously he will play it in a matter of few seconds, but still he takes a queen and runs away.
Yeah.
It is sometimes fantastic.
But it's this restlessness which he also had as a junior player. I remember.
Me?
No, Peter. I remember watching him in an open tournament. There was an open tournament, and he was playing in the closed group, and then he would come off stage after having made a move, and then he would shoot through the hall watching games, and it was like a pinball, and nothing would stop him. And then he would go back on stage and indeed make a move, and then the pinball game would start again. It was fascinating to watch.
Yes, and sometimes his opponents know it, so they're blitzing the moves at the opening, but still he manages to run.
So, but you think that game is in balance?
I don't know. I mean, it's very suspicious that he spent so much time on taking on b5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the rules here, if the draws are allowed or not.
I must confess, I don't know.
Because if they are not allowed, if they are allowed, then
This would be a good
maybe
moment.
no. I mean, maybe Boris offered him a draw. That's why he
Mm.
thought for so long.
Mhm.
But if not, then it means he is afraid of something after c take b5, of some rook c2, or I don't know for what exactly. I can see. I mean, I still think it's just a draw. Maybe no. For sure. Yeah, it just can be a draw like this. For example, take with rook, take, and for example, but he can start with rook c2, but still it cannot be much trouble for white. Because in fact, if you lose both pawns, for example, I don't know, let's say you play some stupid move like, I don't know, like let's say this, and I don't know, bishop f1, then this position is extremely difficult for white and probably even lost.
So
But
it's important for white to keep
the
this,
f2 pawn,
Yeah.
or at least keep the a pawn, because then it will really. This for example, let's say if bishop d3, maybe no, but if black takes, white can take. So so it's impossible actually to lose f2 pawns by the f2 pawn by making reasonable moves. But let's say like this. Now black can take and take f2, and this is dangerous for white, I think.
Mhm.
Although still it should be a draw. So I'm not sure why he spent so much time. Who knows? You can't really understand those geniuses, right?
You just have to wait for their moves.
At
They explain
least I can't. That's for sure.
Well, maybe he's just recalculating something. I don't know. But in any case, well, we they have time because in 1 minute or so we are going for another break, and then I think we'll enter an important hour, where the fourth hour, where well, maybe some games will come close to a decision, or we, in any case, we'll see better in which direction they will be going, and we will see how the young Chinese player will manage to put on the screws for Aronian, if that's really going to happen.
Yeah, as they say in NBA, offense makes the stadiums full, but defense brings you the victories, and the same in chess. First hour brings you advantage, but fourth hour gives you the points.
Well, on this philosophical note, we'll take a break, Alexander, and we'll soon be back. Thank you. And welcome back to Paris. Welcome back to the first round of the Alekhine Memorial here in the splendid surroundings of the Louvre. We're entering the fourth hour. My name is Dirk-Jan ten Geusendam. I'm the editor of New in Chess, and with me is Russian Grandmaster Alexander Grischuk. Alexander, so we took a brief break, and when we re-entered the hall, once again we saw a long queue of people trying to get in here. It's wonderful to see how many spectators are coming here, and well, right they are. It's a fantastic setting, and there are some great games being played. So let's see which are the ones that deserve our attention particularly.
Okay, let's start with the game we have on the screen once again, and again we guess the sequence. This all appeared on the board, and Peter probably finds the way not to lose the f2 pawn, which is critical, as we said.
That's the game between Swittler and Gelfand.
Yeah, now the point is that if bishop e4, I can take on c2,
Yeah.
so Boris will most likely play rook a2, and I think soon they will agree a draw, I'm pretty sure. So let's move. Whom we say here we have Anand Adams. And Vichy decided to force the events. He took the pawn after h3, knight f6. He took on e5, given the bishop, knight d5. Now there were some move knight c6, but he rejected it, so it means there must be something for black, most likely. Probably black's idea should be to move away with the knight, and then when white takes either of the rooks, to trap the knight. So let's try knight f6. Now if knight b8, then bishop b7, it's easy. Yeah, there is rook c2, but it should not be good. So knight take d8, and now probably bishop if bishop descends, then e5. So maybe black should try to find another square, maybe e7. Now knight d8, bishop d7. Yeah, knight is trapped. So probably that's why he rejected, and after e take d5, rook takes, he just starts to develop, and again we see that black is quite uncomfortable on the c file.
Yeah.
Again we will make this arrow, maybe like here, but I don't believe it can be tragic for black. I think he should make a draw without great problems. Maybe bishop d6. Now if knight c6, rook b6, setting a trap. If bishop e3, then black can take and rook d1 and mate. So, and if a5 obviously doesn't work because rook takes c6.
And well, maybe we should briefly have a look, because there's one game finished. The French battle has ended in a peace proposal.
So it's so he just in this position he just took on d5, black took, check on d8, rook check on b8, rook d8, and you cannot take on a7 because bishop c5 and queen is trapped. And if white goes to f4, then black can just take a pawn at least.
So
And
so that means that the move repetition is more or less forced it's not something that white can run away from.
At least not in easy way.
Mm.
Maybe he. Yeah, the point is that he cannot play queen e1 because the queen on b4 is protected. So,
Yeah.
so it means that all this operation with knight d5 didn't give anything to white, but maybe also white didn't have anything anyway. So.
Yeah.
So
And what do you think? This is a result that both are not too unhappy with?
No, definitely Laurent is not too unhappy, but I think also because I know that they sometimes train together, and I think Maxime is the type of the guy who likes to beat his friends. Like Swidler.
Yes.
So, so I think he will be a bit upset. But now our task is both has got both easier and more difficult, because now we have less games, so it's on one hand is more easy, but on the other hand maybe at some point we will run out of things to talk about.
Well, I don't think so. There's many players here with lots of stories, and well, to begin with, we have all the games. I'm curious how Kramnik is doing.
Yeah, I will return. I just will point out that I said complete nonsense about Anand Adams. Still, I think that bishop d6 is what black should do, but knight c6, of course, is impossible because c1, rook c1 hangs at the end. So, so I think black is now. I think that black is just completely fine. Maybe white will have to play like bishop g3, and then it cannot be worse for black. b3 is weak now finally, so yeah. Okay, so let's move to Kramnik.
So you think Adams is doing fine, essentially?
Just completely.
Yeah.
So now it's important what is going with time in this game. Nothing special. White has 24 or
23 minutes,
and black has 14.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay. And chess-wise, I think white will take on b5, take knight e3, then try knight e f5, then rook d7. Maybe it's actually worse for black than it looks, but
well, optically it looks a bit awkward, doesn't it? Or
yeah. The thing is, white does not exchange on g6.
yeah.
He will play knight f5, so if black wants to exchange, it will be without h take g6, so his f5 will be weak. Yeah, it looks quite unpleasant. But Vladimir is thinking, so it means that there is something. And in the meanwhile, I think we have another game finished. Yeah.
Okay, and this is what you expected, that Boris Gelfand would, well...
Yeah, they just exchanged everything, so most likely they have Sophia rules, or so they found some repetition. And yeah. Okay, it's a very high-class game, I think very correct game.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when black is very well prepared in some forced or semi-forced line, and that's usually...
Does he surprise you, Boris Gelfand? I mean, that he manages to maintain his level and his motivation for so many years. It's, well, let's say, although he's not an old man, in competitive chess sense, he is one of the older players. Is it his total dedication that makes him play so well?
Yes, but I mean, usually the things that impress or surprise you are the things that you tried and failed at, or the things that you clearly see as something very difficult. For example, I mean, I don't know, jumping from stratosphere. I mean, I have never tried, but still I understand that it's extremely difficult. Or I don't know, certain things I know I have failed at. For example, trying to how do you say it? The football. Try to make
to keep up the ball.
yeah, to keep up the ball by your leg for like more than 10 shots. I know it's very difficult, and when there is a world record of I don't know for many hours, obviously it impresses. But I have never tried to play chess at top level until 45 or more, so I cannot say.
So you feel you're not in the position to
yeah, I
give an
cannot
assessment.
judge if it's difficult or not, but at least now I can say responsibly that some people say that it's already getting difficult to play at 30. Now, okay, I'm 29, but it's more or less the same. I can say it's complete crap. So I'm not sure what I will think at 45 if I get there. So
you don't think there's any big problem looming for you there next year?
I hope so. Okay, so now we are left with 3 games, and let's return.
But at the same time, we'll just to stick to Boris for a moment. He, well, of course, he uses all the modern techniques and everything, and he's not an ancient Roman or Greek, but at the same time, he embraces a certain well, let's say, unwritten rules of the Soviet chess school, and is still loyal to that. I mean, he still very much lives the life of a chess player. I mean, going for a walk before the game, not playing more than a certain number of serious games per year, all that kind of stuff. Is he from a different, well, era there, or is it just a choice, a personal choice that you make?
No, but I think he is a very professional player in the sense that he takes chess very professionally. Also, for example, Kramnik is a great example of taking chess professionally. And I think it mostly depends on the character of the person.
You mean more than the training that he had in Russia?
No, but I mean, you know, sometimes people say that this guy is very talented but cannot work at all. Or they say about someone that he is not very talented but he works like hell. Or they say, for example, Kasparov, he was both extremely talented and also worked very much. But I think that the ability to work very much is also a talent, and it's not given to everyone. I mean, at all. I mean, it's actually to work properly given to very few people, like the chess talent itself or any other talent, for that matter.
Yeah, it's clearly part of your talent. If you, I agree. That's absolutely true.
I think maybe it's not part. It's like a separate talent to be able to work a lot and productively. Because to just work a lot, most people will just at some point he sits, looks at the board or at the computer, but without actually producing any result. So.
Yeah, it's one of the things I often think when people say, well, he was so incredibly talented, just guess what he would have been if he had worked. And then I think, well, okay, this is just part of that talent. If he didn't work, then okay, then he didn't have that talent.
Yeah, that's what I think. And maybe just take or queen h5. Queen h5. So maybe knight f5 saves the exchange. Who knows? But still, now he has to compose himself. He has how much time?
6. No, wait. He has 17 minutes. So that's.
So he has much more time, and Aronian is down to some minutes. Yeah.
2, 6. Yeah, 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
How much watch on your watch? You know this? They have this joke in Russian. How much watch on your watch? And he says something, and then such much watch on your watch.
But I'm thinking, I remember years ago, then Russian players, they would say this, how much watch? just asking the time.
Ah, yeah?
Yeah. Uh,
No, but there are still certain players who say pawn instead of pawn.
pawn.
And one very strong and famous player still
Mhm.
keeps saying like that.
Okay. But yeah, if we're asking how much watch, then it's 7 minutes for Aronian, slightly less, and more than enough for Dingley Ren.
Yeah, but it always looks like this, that it's enough or more than enough, but sometimes it just drains through your fingers very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vitugov, I thought he moved. Yeah, Queen C8 he played. Oof. And Kramnik played Rook B3, not taking on B8.
Mhm.
So he tries to confuse. But still, it will be a draw. Just take and F6 anyway.
Yeah, probably no huge difference there, is there? Or
Yeah,
Do-
at some
do-
point I will move with the bishop, so you will have to take soon, I think. I mean, you can try to play something like Queen C3, so now if bishop F7, then knight F5 is unpleasant, and if Queen E6, try to make some move, I don't know, if before the Queen A2 check, so not, so maybe G4, to make some luft for
Mhm.
the bishop F7, now I want to take, so now maybe, now if before you can win the pawn, so maybe now knight F5, and now if you take, I take, and it's uncomfortable, but G6, now if you go away, I take, so you have to check, take, and now it's an improved version of this endgame, definitely, so you have this important luft, but still I don't believe. But now it's, it's a bit unpleasant.
but can you become
Sure.
annoying with the white queen if you go to A5, for instance?
Yeah, but I just want to first,
Okay.
because Queen A5,
Oh,
if I take,
Oh no, before, I mean, instead of C3.
you mean here?
To A5, yeah.
Yeah, but now it's, I have both pawns defended.
Yeah, but
Right.
just to annoy him and to...
Just to irritate, as Macro will say.
Yeah.
But no specialist in this opening.
Mhm.
Or, for example, let's take your compatriot Luke Van Wely, who played in Weichensee, Najdorf, time after time, and time after time he will lose. And then play again and lose again. So I'm not sure it
But
makes him
does-
a real specialist.
But you mean that doesn't necessarily say something about his specialism, but more of his ability to handle that opening? Or?
No, I mean, let's say about, I mean, it was mostly a joke about Van Wely, but about Kramnik, I mean, I would also like to get lots of such positions from the opening, but it's just
And then
a
squeeze.
matter of preparation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Here. Okay, this I don't want even to delve in, because I'm sure it will be a draw.
And Adams, you mean? Yeah.
So he will probably go rook d2. Actually, it's maybe. He goes rook d1. Why?
Mhm.
But maybe it's not that simple. King h2. I mean, the question is only if black can try to win.
Mhm.
Now maybe rook d2. Interesting. But it's strange how Anand goes from this position to clearly worse one in a matter of...
Hmm.
Yeah, so here he took on f6, and so it's move 19, and after move 22 he is clearly slightly worse. So it's very strange, very strange, very strange.
Yeah, anyway, he looks a little bit nervous and or uncomfortable.
And
But
also he's not much up on time.
yeah, he spent a lot of time, 8 minutes and 52 seconds for 11 moves. That
But with an increment, so it's
Yeah.
not tragic at all. Okay, we will come back, but first we check our favorite guy.
see if it's still our favorite game.
Now I don't understand why he took with e-pawn. It's very strange. Just don't. Maybe he wants knight g4 now, and black takes now. Maybe even take with the king, and then to play knight e5. But I don't know, maybe even black can play f6, and if rook e6, take, check, rook e1 and take this pawn. I think that it's going away from white control the game. He doesn't control the game anymore, and he has 14 minutes against 5 or something.
Let me see. This is no 10 minutes. White has 10 minutes and
Black has 5, I
five.
think, yeah.
Well, almost 6.
Yeah. And Kramnik Vichugov, so white played our move queen d6, and Vichugov replied with king f7, but now his bishop is completely out, so I'm sure Vladimir will play g4. Now what can black do? Maybe. And does he have time? He has 8 minutes? So
Well, 6.5. But that shouldn't be the problem, right?
no, not yet, but it's just some sort of stalemate for black. What to do? I mean, you can try h6 and bishop h7, but then what next? Then at some point maybe like
Yeah.
this, and
The knight definitely looks more flexible than the bishop for the moment.
yeah, if you have a play chess account, bet on move g4.
Yeah.
But maybe actually he will play b4, but I prefer g4 by far. By far, yeah. So bet on g4.
So that's what you get for free. A tip by Alexander Grischuk on g4 on the game Kramnik Vichugov. Let's see. And
Anand Adams. Yeah, so now, so he really played rook d2, take. Now, okay, we will be back to this game very quickly, just one moment. If white takes on e6, then black takes, and this is probably lost for white. Although it's not clear. Maybe it's not lost, but I think still white can just play rook e5, but then rook c2. So, and black wants to play king f7 next. So why? Okay, at least he will have to be careful. Maybe here he has rook c6, yeah. And now what? He
Well,
goes for
a move.
this.
A move.
But why? Maybe he's not in time. Rook c6. If take, I take.
Maybe it's interesting to switch to Aronia.
Yeah. I know. I just want to understand because
Yeah.
I don't understand here white is in time. So why he took on a6? He goes to our line, but why? Maybe here he wants c4, a6. No, white is losing here. Strange. I'll just show the line. And black wins. Very strange. Okay. So. Yeah, okay. Aesthetically fantastic move.
Yeah, that's a beautiful move.
So, okay, black has to move his queen somewhere. I don't know, a6 or b8. Let's say a6. Now, if white takes immediately, maybe black will save the exchange. So, probably take first. Okay, knight has no move, so take. And then black in time to play knight f6, which completely changes the position, and he's in time for knight d5.
And you feel that this is nevertheless getting unpleasant for white, or
who knows? I think it should be still. There is some queen g4 to not allow f6, and now you either have to play g6 or f5. But I think black is perfectly fine anyway. So. Yeah, so ding, and yeah, we won some money from play chess.
and
King
many
E8.
of our viewers with us.
King e8. Yeah, we should maybe make some, how they call it, some.
You would like to have a cut, yeah?
No, some flash mob called Let's Break Chess Base together. Some flash mob.
Yeah.
And so Vityugov moved king e8. Now most likely he will go king g3. And Kramnik probably Vityugov wants to play something like this. But there is no perpetuals now, never, because once queen goes somewhere, white always have knight g2, and there are just 0 checks. So yeah, it's quite dangerous for black, I will say.
That's certainly unpleasant to play, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So
It's always unpleasant if you're playing for one result.
yeah. So now.
He didn't take him.
But I said nonsense. Of course, complete nonsense. Yeah, I said that after queen a6, white cannot. Black wants to play rook b7, which is complete nonsense because rook is hanging.
That one.
Yeah, so black anyway here has to play knight f6. If knight f6, then bishop g5. Okay. Now it all makes sense. So he went queen a7, take and knight f6. And what is he going to do? Probably. Now it's very dangerous to let bishop f6. But he has take. He can take. If take, and black is, to say the least, better. Maybe close to winning. And so maybe he should go on bishop e5. Yeah, so he probably should go bishop e5. The point being that after knight d5, white takes not the rook but the knight, and after ed he can attack with like queen g5. Black will have to sacrifice a pawn with he cannot f5, then anyway bishop g7 because rook is hanging again. So he will have to play f6, take, rook goes somewhere, and it's very unclear position.
But why doesn't he take the
white
rook right away
where?
on d7?
Yeah, but that's the whole point, that if he takes, then black is just perfect because he goes knight d5. So that's the thing. That's why I want to actually, I mean, I can start with this and then take, but I want to exchange this piece and probably take with e-pawn, yeah, so it's all forced. Now white can make a draw with bishop g7. I think it's a draw. Maybe white can actually try to play for a win here.
So that
He
was
moved? Why he wins time for what? Very stupid decision. Now it's a very stupid decision because now Aranyan will have to time to think as well. While by playing rook e1 he could force him to think now with just a couple of minutes. Very strange decision.
bad time trouble technique.
Yeah, strange. Okay, let's check the other games. Anand. Adams goes for a win.
Okay, that's the spirit. But then he must also feel that Anand is a bit shaky.
No, but I mean it mostly depends on position here. I just don't believe. Because Anand, first of all, no, he could not avoid it. That's very strange. Usually white is in time to, let's say, to give check. You go here, let's say I give some more checks, so I put you on the way of your pawn, then I can go g4, then I can maybe even try to grab your pawn. Actually it's quite dangerous for white. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. Who knows? But still, I think it should be a draw. But
it's
it's not so easy. Maybe.
And it's Anand who has to be careful.
Looks so. Yeah.
Well, let's see. So we're getting an exciting time trouble phase with two games where, well, some big questions have to be answered. And for that reason, we are not going to go for a break. We just stay with you. And so we have to wait with the bananas, Alexander. I mean,
it was an unpleasant surprise.
Yeah. They are waiting there to be eaten, but we have to wait. It's no banana time yet. So let's see what is happening in Dingliren Aronian.
No, let's first look Kramnik Vitugov, maybe.
Okay.
Because Dink will think now for some time.
That's correct.
And yeah, Vitugov just started to make back and forth moves. Now h5, now knight can even try to go like this, knight e1, then knight d3, knight c5, which will be quite...
That looks very unpleasant.
Yeah.
Once you get it to c5, is there a way black can do something useful with his bishop? That's more difficult to say.
Only good square is maybe here black is actually in time, Okay, first take to bring bishop to c4.
Mhm.
Even then he will suffer, of course, but at least bishop is in play. White can
Mhm.
go queen e7, still very unpleasant, but yeah, so but he goes more natural move, knight e3. Maybe he will go to b6. Then it's just better, I think. Now, what to do for black? Yeah, I think white will win.
Yeah. I mean, this is the feeling you get from the pressure that he exerts.
No, just the position. And Dink sinks and sinks. But so let's look. Queen f6, king g8, rook e1. What can black do? Maybe. I don't see defense.
But is there a forced mate?
I mean, once I transfer rook to g3, it is, or g5.
Mm. You have
He's
time.
still thinking.
No,
He does.
he does now.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Yeah, so congratulations to Dink.
So there we have the, let's say, first decisive game and also the first sensation of the day, that Ding Liren beats Levon Aronian, who is the top seed here. He's the,
Yes.
yeah,
Or Kramnik. No?
I think Levon is...
Okay, doesn't matter. The difference is like 3 points.
Yeah,
I
it's,
just don't remember in which favor, but it's like 3 or 4 points difference. Anyway, after today's round, even if Kramnik was behind, he will be ahead, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, Kramnik presses very.
Oh no,
very hard.
you're right. I mean, there was 1 point, 1 point difference, and to Kramnik's advantage, but
and now he is thinking, but I'm pretty sure he will go knight c4 finally. Knight c4 and so knight c4. Let's say king g8, knight b6, and I don't know what can black can do. It looks lost. Just lost. We will see. So we have
And
2 games.
well, and let's say so far we have not had any press conferences here, which may have given people the idea that there were not going to be anyone, but that's not true. There will be one with Ding Liren soon, and then this will interrupt the transmission, or let's say our broadcast. But it's definitely interesting to see what he will have to say about this.
Yeah, I'm not sure about his English, maybe.
It's reasonable for and as far as I understand, We are back on the air, and we're going to follow the remaining games in this first round of the Alekhine Memorial. 2 games still playing. My name is Alekhine ten Geuzendam. I'm the editor of New in Chess. With me here, as far as I understand, we are back on the air, back on air. With me here is Alexander Grishuk, and after this slight technical mishap...
Yeah, but at least we are lucky that we were watching the press conference and not some porn, so...
Yeah, that's true. So, well, we saw the press conference, a modest Ding Liren who kindly explained his thoughts during the game. What was your impression of his press conference?
Yeah, he speaks very decent English. At least it's possible to understand everything. So, yeah, and he looks like a very modest young guy. So very pleasant experience.
Yeah, and he used my favorite Chinese word in English, which is lucky. I mean, it's one of the things that you'll find out when you speak to Chinese players, that if they win, they always say they are lucky, and it's probably some inbred modesty that they have.
No, but in fact, Chinese people are huge gamblers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they really
if something
think
goes wrong,
highly of luck factor.
Okay, okay. Well, that's an interesting explanation. So let's look at the 2 games that are still in progress. We have the end game where Mickey Adams is trying to beat Vishy Anand, the world champion, and there's the all-Russian game between Vladimir Kramnik and Nikita Vichugov. Which one do you want to look at
No,
first?
let's start with Anand Adams. So all this was unavoidable, I think. What happened? I mean, white check, black won some time, and then after huge deliberation, finally played king b2. Now white has nothing better than to grab a pawn, and now also I think unavoidable is king c3. Rook that's even not so. Okay, so rook b6, because black actually threats to queens, because b2, let's say first check, rook c4, and now check king v3. He just queens, so white has to play rook b6. Now black can play rook b4 if he likes, but now I think it's pointless to run away. So so it's easier to play b2. White has to take, and it should be winning for black. Although okay, we'll repeat this: rook b6, b2, take, probably g4, king c3, king g3, and now I think. Should be winning.
But of course, this is the kind of difficult technical ending where many people at home will say, well, I would lose this with black.
So it's a bit over exaggeration, but it's should be quite easy.
What is the plan? How
No,
does
the
black...
plan is just to bring king back.
Yeah.
And so white, so okay, let's try king d4, so king f4 is forced. Now let's say check, now king f5 is more or less for rook a2. And now let's say h pawn will start, let's say check, king g6, take g5, and now I think black is not winning anymore. So probably he should be more precise.
Because it's that difficult. Well, that's how difficult it looks. That any inaccuracy can spoil it. And
probably yes, but I think it looks winning. But I think he will spend a lot of time here. So yeah, so let's check Vichugov. Yeah, so queen c5, king g8. Now there must have been some reason he actually transferred the queen from d3 to c5, because from c5 it doesn't attack the a6 pawn, so now knight c4 is a bit less threatening.
Mm.
So it must be something like knight d5. Looks not bad.
Certainly a very concrete move.
Yeah. So maybe king h7. Okay. Also he will have to think, I don't know, maybe something like b5 take and knight b4, just trying to promote a pawn. But black doesn't have many checks. Yeah, so queen d7, a6, queen d1, a7. Now if queen a1, then queen f2, so probably queen a1. Okay, so he starts with b5.
Yeah.
So, but it will probably just transpose ab knight. Yeah, a6 is card, so knight d5, king h7. Probably knight b4.
You don't want to put it on e7,
Yeah, maybe, but then queen d7. You can still play just a6, yeah? Queen d1. And now queen f2. Oh, and now it's a mate, suddenly.
That's beautiful.
Maybe something like this. And even if queen d2, then queen f2, because without the queen's pawn queens, obviously, and otherwise it's a mate. Yeah, queen f4 check doesn't really save because king g2, and now black has to use queen to defend against the mate, and then pawn just effortlessly queens. Yes. Okay, queen g5 is slightly more stubborn, but it's completely hopeless. Even king h3 and then queen h4, and it's the end. So yeah, so probably white is winning, and maybe suddenly he is even it's actually easier to win for Vladimir than for Mickey. And here I understand why Vish is thinking. He's thinking whether to force black rook to c4 and only then give away his rook, but I don't think so, because first of all black king can get some extra route through b4, and also the rook is not really worse on c4. If black plays like this, it's not really worse than on a4, because I mean it's worse in some rook endgames when there are some side checks and you must give a lot of them, but here black is not going to give many checks for white. He is not satisfied with perpetual, so yes, so I think he should just quickly play rook b6, give away the...
And I think Vladimir Kramnik just dealt a heavy blow. He played queen b6, and that's an interesting thought, just to let the pawn run.
So he wants to win without any problems. Maybe it's even easier. So let's say bishop a8. Yeah, here probably knight d5 wins. Yeah, so now, so it means black's only chance is some perpetual, a6, queen d2. Yeah, should be just too easily win, a7, no, but then queen g3, king g2, queen e2, king g1, and it's over. Although he can sacrifice. It looks ridiculous, but who knows. And queen a2. Yeah. And then black will be mated first.
Yeah. So that's suddenly a...
Yeah, looks. Yeah, but still it's strange for me because here at move 31 it looked quite drawish. Very interesting. Yeah, could be a great evaluation by Vladimir. And even here it doesn't look. No, but I still don't believe it cannot be that bad. It just cannot be.
Well, probably. Or maybe he just managed to get him into a position where he had chances to go wrong, and then this kind of...
No, but it's worse. It's worse. No.
And one slip may have such far-reaching consequences.
Yeah, not even sure what to advise. Maybe F6 here.
But it
But
looks like
even
it,
then Queen D6, it's the same turns position. Yeah,
looks like a very well-played game by Kramnik,
yeah,
right?
yeah. In fact, it's a much better game than Dinks. I mean, not effects-wise, but the quality-wise.
Yeah, because the advantage that he had to exploit was much smaller.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And maybe here Anand is thinking about some rook f6 and then try to give checks. I'm not sure what he achieves by that. Maybe he can win some tempo. Let's see. Not really. Really it will be just the same position. It's the same. So
that might mean that of the favorites, only Vladimir Kramnik lives up to expectations. Would you agree if you say that Kramnik, Aronian and Anand were the supposed favorites here, or do you think that's too simplistic?
Probably yes. But Sviller also looks very good
Of course.
recently, and but I think Kramnik really impressed in London. So if you had to choose one favorite, I would pick him before the tournament.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I mean, and especially after today. So.
Yes, and we definitely shouldn't forget Peter Svikler, who had this. We actually had a great tournament in London and showed some great chess, and who, as they say, and who, as they rightly say, can beat anyone on any given day.
Yeah. But he also could lose to a lot of people on any given day, and now I think he put it a bit past himself. So. Okay, so now
in one way or another, you think we are going to get this ending of rook against 3 pawns?
Yeah, looks definitely so. And okay, now that nothing is happening, I will say that spring is probably my favorite time of the year. Not only because the weather becomes much better, but also because it's the best sports time of the year. There are all sorts of playoffs, important matches and stuff, and today was a great match in Russian football Premier League. The leader CSKA played against his main rival Spartak. And I want to congratulate the fans of both teams, the CSKA fans, because saving the game after 0-2 is always quite a thing, and the fans of Spartak, because for Spartak it's always a honor to make a draw against CSKA. So it was a great game, which finished just 30 minutes before our round has started.
So that was the reason why you arrived just in time. I mean, you had
exactly.
other things to.
Yeah.
Well, that's that sounds good. Well, it's true. There's some great sports events coming up, and I think we have the Champions League semi-finals this week. Or?
Yeah, it's Champions League, all NBA, NHL, the finish of all football championships, everything.
You have any favorites in the Champions League? Or?
And champion just against Barcelona.
Okay.
So probably for Real, because I think they are the only ones who can really stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if the final will be Barcelona-Real, it will be great.
Yeah.
Because I think it will be the first time in history, no?
That one country is...
No. That this El Clasico is in the final of Champions League.
I think so, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it will be fantastic. I mean, they hate each other just so much, it's just always...
And as we find out this afternoon, this is what you appreciate. If people manage to sincerely hate, that's good. So what is it that you hate in Barcelona?
No, but I usually against all the favorites.
Ah, okay.
And I mean, they are too much of a favorite. So.
Well, that reminds me, and let's say when I was a kid, there was an elder neighbor, and they didn't have a television set, so he would come to us whenever there was football, and then for the first 10 minutes he would say nothing. He would just find out who we were rooting for, and then he took the others. So he was a man you would have liked. Yeah.
Yeah, here I spotted some... Yes, but that's also the reason I get so much more negative emotions rather than positive when watching sports, because I'm almost always support outsiders,
Okay.
underdogs. So, yeah, maybe finally rook f6 and if b2, so, okay, all those checks.
So is
no, I'm again saying no. Yeah, now rook f1. Yeah, now rook f1, and so the point is that now we tricked king to b1. And if black tries to be smart, he achieves nothing because the pawn doesn't really promote. So, yeah, maybe it makes some sense. And Vishy made some move, but he played more easy way. Now black can... If he likes to, he can transfer his rook to c4 first, and only then play b2, rook b2, king b2. But I don't think it changes much. Just, I mean, if Anand refused this, then you can just do it. Also, he can again win a lot of time. He can play rook b4, rook c6, then rook c4, then again rook b4, rook c4, and it will not be a 3-time repetition, and only then b2. I'm not sure he needs to do it, and I hope he will not, because I would prefer games to finish earlier rather than later, and I think I'm not alone in this wish. he would have repeated the moves.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Vishy looks quite upset. Okay, let's try again to find a
But
win.
so Alexander, how complicated is it to calculate this? Because many people will say, well, this is the kind of position that these guys, they calculate till the end. But
Yeah, but
that's
that's the problem, that you
Mm.
have to calculate for a very long sequences of moves. Okay, so let's try. It's not so simple. Okay, let's. Okay, let's try king d3, then king f3. Yeah, okay, king d4, king f4 anyway. And now... Okay, we tried to attack pawn already. Yeah?
But of course, that's what
Okay.
is driving him crazy, that he cannot try. I mean, he just has to find this only way if there's an only way.
Yeah, but maybe there are many ways. Who
Mhm.
knows? Maybe, but maybe just like this. Okay, so I now threat to run. You probably cannot allow me to f8, so you must try something like this.
Mm. But that would be what we should think of. That if Black manages to get his
if
king
it's
to
a
f8,
king
then
to
that's
the
it.
before the
Yeah.
if it's on g or h, it's over.
Yeah.
G8, g7, but f8 can be some positions with white king on h7 and pawn on g5, g6, but yeah.
But we have to have some time to think about that, Alexander, and maybe can exchange some ideas in the press room where there's many grandmasters visiting. And I saw Anatoly Karpov was there, and then Vladimir Tukmakov is there, and which creates a great atmosphere. Because we're going back to the old routine and have a brief break, and we'll be back after the
Great.
break.
Thousands of apologies for being late, but at the meantime I have cheated again and checked that the move rook e4, which Michael Adams have just played, is the winning one, and black is completely winning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So welcome back, Alexander. We're resuming the broadcast after a usefully spent break. So why is rook e4 such a good move?
Yeah, because it cuts white king, because as you see in the previous variations we were struggling to cut white's king, and now rook e4, so I think pawns will not win by themselves, so he must run with the king, something like this. Now I don't know, but I think just king e5 maybe, and the point is that after h4 king e6 white king is stuck with this g4 pawn, and after h5 king f7 black king will land on g5, and then it's just completely primitively winning, and And here white can try maybe king g6. Now I will have to think, but okay. Now let's think. Now maybe something king e6, g5, rook h4, king g7, king e7, g6, and now just to make zugzwang. So let's say white tries king g8. Now let's say, now I can win a pawn with rook g5, rook g5, yeah, and if g7, king f6. And otherwise, yeah, white just loses pawns one by one, and g4 take, g5, rook h5, king g8 take, and so on.
Yeah.
And actually I was trying to make sure if king g8, now king f6, if it's also winning. It is, because after g7 I can play rook g5. But let's say I'm still trying to make zugzwang, and now white will try to play for a stalemate. And this might be a draw. This might be a draw because yeah, now it looks like a draw. So yeah, so he will have to be a bit careful, but yeah, he will win here by either rook g5 or king f6. Now maybe g4, then yeah, then black can even win like this. Rook h3, g7, king g6, king f8, check, king g8, rook f7, and now it would be a stalemate without g-pawn, but suddenly this pawn gives black a victory. Yeah, so it's, yeah, now it should not be that difficult for black. And Vityugov? Vityugov goes into offensive for a while. So he goes to a3. White will play a7, I believe. And he will go king h7. I'm also quite sure. Now white cannot win immediately, because if queen b8 or queen b8, then black takes and gives a perpetual after queen g1. But a7, king h7. So in this game I haven't cheated, so now I will not be as convincing. Actually, it doesn't look that primitive, and they have 13 minutes for black.
But he's played queen b4.
Queen. Played queen b4. So his plan is to meet a7 with queen e1 check, and now his point is that after king h2, queen f2, white cannot play knight g2 because of king b6. But I believe that after king g2, queen e2, king g1, queen e1, knight f1, he can resign.
Yeah.
So it looks like a final blunder after, I don't know, okay, let's check again. a7, so you must check. I go king g2, so you can check on d2 as well, but it doesn't change anything. I go knight king g1, so it's the same. Queen e2, king g1. You have just one check, knight f1, and it's over.
Yeah.
So weird.
But it's understandable that he tries this last desperate attempt.
Yeah, but okay, let's think how to win after queen a3. So a7 probably is right, king h7. Now how to make everything safe?
Okay, I'll cheat. Knight c2.
Yeah, and it's over. Yeah, because because now e1 is protected, and g1 black cannot attack at the moment, and if he attacks the knight, white goes queen b8, and and white mates. Okay, so yes, so probably actually it can finish quite quickly now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anand runs with the king as we predicted. Okay, now black will definitely play king d4. It's also clear, and he does.
Yeah, that may take a bit longer.
Not really. I think now it's quite simple. White has no.
But he will spend his time on those moves.
You mean Vishy or Michael?
Fishy.
Yes, but he is not the type to spend time for no reason. I think.
That's what you appreciate in him. Yeah. But still, well, if Mickey pulls off this win, then we have two sensational results, I would say. The world champion losing with white for the second time in half a year against the same opponent. That's something. And of course, Ding Liren's upset against Levon Aronian. Then we have a relatively normal win by Vladimir Kramnik, who played an outstanding game against Nikita Vityugov.
No, it's just a great game. I think public will not really appreciate, but it's an absolutely fantastic game. Just and actually now I had to take part. Okay, not actually me, but my wife had to take part in the 2012 Best Games. It's organized by Chess Pro site, I think. Yeah. And neither she or me we could find any games that we liked.
I mean,
from last year.
From the entire year.
Just okay, not a single fantastic game, and even was not easy to put top 10. Just no really great games.
Yeah.
And I think in this year already some great games. Aronian Anand from Vaikanze. This game, Kramnik Vityugov. Also, okay, will not be too modest. My game against Swidler with black from London also impressed a lot of people. So yeah.
Carlsen Gelfand, I guess.
Carlsen Gelfand is very clean, but it's just I don't know,
not in the Superliga.
Yeah, I mean it's just not. It's without effects at all. I mean here at least there was this rook d7, rook b7 by Kramnik. And then some complete domination. It was just a very good game, Carlsen Gelfand, but it just yeah, and I don't know what to say. Yeah, Kramnik played a7. Now it will be over very shortly. Yeah, and an interesting game, complete dominance of knights against the bishops, and then one knight against the bishop. It happens very rarely, because already here white had two knights against two bishops in a semi-open position, and knights were completely dominating. It doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, incredibly well played and forceful.
Yeah.
But then, how do you explain Anand's losing his way in this game?
I don't know, but he really started to play much worse recently. I don't know why. I have no idea.
And then recently, you mean last 1 or 2 years, or?
Yeah, last couple of years. I don't know why.
You saw a clear drop in level.
Yeah, because I always thought, I mean, the strongest one I have ever played against is definitely Gary, but then I think number 2 was Vishy. So
Hmm. You mean that that's something like this, the strength that you feel? Well,
Just I don't know, just difficulty to play against.
mhm.
Just always fast and putting pressure and never really blundering something tragic, because sometimes he would blunder something, but it was never tragic against me at least, and in most games.
Yeah.
Sometimes you blunder a pawn and then your whole position collapses, and he will sometimes blunder a piece, but then somehow he will get a very reasonable compensation for it.
Yeah.
So
As if his position was already extra healthy when he made the mistake.
yeah, it's strange, because for example, he will be worse than blunder a piece, and then suddenly it becomes quite unclear if you take it. Maybe it's objectively winning, but very difficult to do.
So he goes king to g6,
Yeah, it's
Anna-
thought.
Anand.
Now I think king f4 should also be enough, but king e6 is just much more clear. Maybe he can try g3, king e7, king g7, rook. I don't know, like this. Yeah, even this is and it's over. Just completely over. White has no threats.
So how much time does a grandmaster like you spend on the endgame?
I think it depends. You can read some book, or maybe in your game some end game which interests you, or in some other games that you were following some interesting end game. For example, I don't spend time specifically, but just by chance I spent quite a bit.
And you mean that a lot of the knowledge that you have on the endgame comes from your younger days, when you really had to study them in trainings, or?
I don't know. But in fact, when you just following the games and then analyzing, it's already quite a bit.
Well, because
and if you also have read some basic books.
and this you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the basic books, they are Haverbach or
Yeah,
Dvoretsky,
Haverbach, now Dvoretsky gives some good stuff. Also John Nunn has an excellent book on pawnless endgames, like when there are no pawns, just pieces, like queen against rook and so on.
Because this I found interesting at the match in Moscow, that at a certain point Anand was telling that before every game he was rehearsing certain endgames, and I had never thought of it. Yeah, I had never thought of that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, Vitrugov may check. I think it's called desperate check. Yeah, in English usually.
Desperado or
Because
the spy check, or
in Russian it's called the check before death.
yeah.
I don't know. In English I have never heard such expression. So yeah, it's 1-0 and Mickey is triple checking, quadruple checking, quintuple checking, and then I don't know how to call it.
He goes rook e2.
Rook e2. So, weird choice, but
Well, as long as he collects the pawns.
g5, let's say rook g2, h4. Now he has to be careful. Okay, king e6 maybe. h5, king e7, 6, king f8, h7, rook h2. But it's not. No, but
But you
if he calculated, it's okay.
it's probably something. I mean, it's such a concrete move that you must have calculated this.
Yeah, but I just don't understand why not play what I suggested. I think it's much more clear.
To go up with the king. Yeah. But he... Well, Mickey looks totally focused. I mean, if you look at him, you
Yeah,
think
but
like...
actually you should not be focused. You should already calculate everything and then be relaxed. I mean, if you are too focused here, it means you don't have clear lines in your head.
Well, you can also just keep the tension and think for yourself. I mean, just not relax and...
For the audience.
Oh, yeah. This is the other way around of what we spoke about before, yeah. Be relaxed and act tense. Yeah.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
People are quite tense, but pretend they're relaxed.
Hmm.
But Vichugov is going to play queen down, I think. I think he doesn't want to resign, and he is going to play queen e2, king g1, queen f3, check, king h7, getting 3 pawns for the queen, which is not really enough.
But this is
Then
where you
queen
played
A2
queen a2. I think we already had this position.
I think very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, luck.
But then...
As if Kramnik was Chinese, he will say after queen a2 that I was lucky.
Yeah. Well, maybe Vichigov, he was informed of a new rule. And of course, it's also an art to know when to resign.
Yeah.
I remember I once won a piece quite early in the game, and then the opponent didn't resign, so it took some time. And then in the end, he finally resigned. He said, "Well, not too difficult, but the piece up."
So Michael grabs a pawn. Rishi goes h4, I believe.
Yeah, but this is what you were wondering about this one briefly,
Yeah,
huh?
that was, yeah. And king e6, king e7 is the first things that come to mind. No chances at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the king is too close. And just for the listeners that this position, let's say for example this, okay, so just to show that if king is on g8, black always win. For let's give white an unlimited amount of tempes.
Yeah, this is good to get the idea of how this should be
Just
won.
just give an unlimited amount. Okay. I mean, unlimited to the point that you cannot queen with a check. So okay,
Yeah.
so that's I think enough. And black always wins by, let's say here, rook a5.
Mhm.
You have to play g5. Now let's say attack. You defend now zugzwang.
Mhm.
So you have to go g7. I go king h7. Now you have to go back. And now maybe I'm actually again saying nonsense. How to win here? strange. Because I had one similar endgame. Ah, okay. So now you bring king. Oh, how to- so you bring king here. White still stands. Now. Okay, so if we play for Zugzwang, get nothing. Okay, so another try.
But that's a game that you played yourself, where you had this. Or
Yeah, I had very similar like this, so I thought it's very, and I won very easily. So, okay, there must be some.
So let me see. Well, Mickey has made a move, I think.
Okay, let's try like this. Oh, look here, rook b1. Now rook b8.
Yeah, he's played King f4. That's a slightly different idea.
Mm-hmm. King f4, if now king f6. What he wants?
Yeah, you
but
got-
he's in time
you
for
just
this.
spoke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's in time.
Mhm. That's an interesting route.
So it's even
Yeah.
easier, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because earlier on you were talking about that there may be different routes, and well, probably there are. This is quite instructive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And-
the easiest.
And very forcing. And
Yeah, so he will probably play king f7,
mhm.
then king f5, and it's over.
Yeah.
Mm,
But
yeah.
still, that's quite an achievement by Mickey Adams.
Definitely. Oh, and they
Right.
both resign at the same time. Both
Okay.
Vitugov and...
What did you tell them,
Vishny.
Alexander?
I don't know.
So Vladimir Kramnik beats Nikita Vichikov, who was already dangling above the abyss for some time, and Mickey Adams defeats the world champion Vishy Anand for the second time in half a year. So that's an exciting first round that we saw here in Paris with two, well, sensational results. I think we can easily say that, and a very beautiful win by Vladimir Kramnik. So we have three people in the lead now. Vladimir Kramnik, Ding Liren, and Mickey Adams are leading the Alekhine Memorial. We'll be back tomorrow. I think the viewers can better stay because there's bound to be a press conference, probably with Mickey Adams and one with Vladimir Kramnik, and it will be very interesting to listen to what they have to say. Alexander, well, thank you very much for being here. You'll join me later on in the week.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, tomorrow there will be
Yeah,
Jan Timman.
Jan Timman will be here tomorrow, and
But if you speak Russian, you can listen to me tomorrow at the Russian channel.
exactly, that's how it's going to be. Alexander will be with the Russian commentary tomorrow, together with Ilya Smirin, and there's also French commentary, if that's the language you prefer. So, thank you very much for listening to us today, and hope to hear you back or see you back tomorrow. And Alexander, once again.
Thank you, and thanks, Dirk Jan. It was a pleasure working with you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure, Alexander. Take care. All the best.